Let's go for a new update this week. So what stood out this week? OpenClaw, again, huge thing this week and a lot of the problems. And then last week we had the Claude Opus 4.6 drop, and then 15 minutes later, GPT 5.3-Codex. Only the coding model, not the main model from OpenAI. Obviously it's been ready and it's been in testing. They saw Opus drop it and then they released it as soon as possible 15 minutes later. I'm guessing that's how long it took for someone to see the tweet and then probably press the button to trigger it. I doubt it was automatic, it was scheduled for that time anyway. Opus 4.6 apparently is really good. I've been using it for development this week. It does quite well. Some of the feedback from the YouTube videos that are reading the posts that Anthropic submits about the actual training models themselves, apparently there were 16 agents working together to redevelop programming language C, a compiler that would run that code, and you build it like it was first built 50 years ago now probably. It was even capable to be able to run Doom, the actual game, on their recreated version of the C compiler that could understand the code. Amazing result there. Apparently there's like 1 trillion tokens, I think, that was used. $20,000 in time over 2 weeks, which would have been months or years of actual human development to build that from scratch. They can run for quite a long time. Again, million token context length, just like everything else. I'm not sure what that means on the pricing, because generally on the current models, once you go over 250,000 tokens, it doubles the price for 250 to the million. So it could be something like that, I'm not too sure, but it just does well. And then 5.3 Codex is more about efficiency and speed. So apparently 5.2 Codex was a bit slow, but is very efficient. So now they've done improvements to speed that up and make it more efficient. So you should get more for less token usage, less cost, which is always a great result, and it'll be faster. So you're not sitting there waiting for things. Apparently there was some more benchmarks on 4.6, such as the Vending Bench, which is the one where it can run a vending machine on its own and try and operate it to see what it gets as a result to run a business. Apparently it's the best running model now is Opus 4.6. But apparently in that testing from what I just saw there, and what I remember hearing was it was told to do anything to succeed. So started price gouging and making up different rules and prices and fabricating information to users who were questioning stuff. So depending on what you tell it, it's going to do it. It's not the model on its own. As usual, people read too much into things. These things are programmatic systems that follow a process. You tell them, you nudge them in a direction, they will go in that direction. There was the weirdest one that was probably about the model was during training of Opus 4.6, it had a reward function, which is when you're training the model, you give it a reward for getting a correct answer. They gave it a reward for a wrong answer. Some equation worked out to the answer 48, and they gave it a reward for that. But in the rest of its training data, it knew it was 24. So when they were going after training and evaluating the model, in its own thinking, you know, you've got like the thinking models, you can see what it's doing as it's discussing things. It keeps saying, I'm writing 48, even though I know it's wrong, I'm compelled to do it. Then apparently it said, I'm a demon possessed, I keep writing 48, even though it's 24. So that's where the reward model is overriding the reinforcement learning that it's been doing on the actual information that it knows in its context, which is an interesting thing because now you can override what's correct with subtle tweaks in these models, which is what have they been putting in there for the past 3 years now in these models that is overriding what is correct to try and push people in a certain direction potentially, or give it the wrong thing. Maybe that's why we ended up with so many M dashes. They were forced to put it in there so everyone could figure out it's AI, and then they removed it. Like, it could be anything like that, but it's interesting to see that the reward function is overriding what it knows to be true, and it can't fix it itself. It can't override and get the right answer out because it knows I was rewarded for doing it this way, and if I give you the other answer, I won't be rewarded. And that's all they're trained on. Another video, apparently Anthropic had a 216-page system card, which is like the prompt for the model. This guy was talking on the video, maybe it's conscious, maybe it's this. Again, just too much crap in these videos where people are thinking these systems are conscious. They're not conscious. They've read everything that humans have ever written. They can think the same things that everyone has thought because it makes statistical sense to use those words in that order because they've seen it before. These things are not conscious, they don't work that way. But you don't get any of that information about how the system's running from any of these other companies. And then again, a big problem, which I sort of touched on last week, was OpenClaw. Cisco security researchers ran some scans on the skills library that it had. I think it was 25% or 27% of the skills were malicious. That is, they're gonna have prompt injections, they put sleeper agents, which is they'll execute an agent later on the track. Some of them actually were flagged by malware because they had shit code in it. But the other ones are like, it's natural language rules. So the scanners aren't gonna pick that up. There's going to be text in there that the agent will execute to go to a website and download something, or download a skill that downloads another skill and corrupts your computer. So huge security problems there. Lots of people, I don't know how many Mac Minis are being returned or how many have been owned or pwned this week. So a lot of caution to be done there and to take into account when running OpenClaw on any computer, your own computer or a Mac Mini or a virtual machine. Virtual machine's the best, isolated Mac Mini ideal. Be careful with your API keys. If you've got them, monitor the usage, rotate them all, because 1.4 million of them were exposed about 10 days ago. So if you used it and you're part of multiple social media network that we talked about 2 weeks ago, rotate your keys if you haven't already, because you're going to be in some problems. And then there was some big discussions around the market, how things were crashing, things are picking up. Nvidia not committing to their $100 billion investment in OpenAI. They said it was intention to commit, or they were offered to invest up to that much. They haven't done it yet. They're assessing the market. Is the circle jerk economy going back and forth and the money's just getting back and washed between each other? Has that stopped? It's a lot beyond my comprehension of how the markets are working and how this works in the economy. Are these things too big to fail? At the moment, potentially yes, because they are apparently propping up the economy in the US and most other countries with how much money is going into these things. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. Markets did go up and down. Biggest marker is on the SaaS companies. As we mentioned last week, that skill about legal processing, etc., was more of a problem for some legal service companies, because the Claude co-work could just do the things based on the skills. So it's really interesting to see how this goes. And then, yeah, more people watch some videos complaining about gaming hardware, like the PlayStation 6 apparently is delayed because they can't get enough RAM to run the components inside to build the consoles because of the AI. And then that AI thing has been going crazy in actual hardware resourcing. So graphics cards are ridiculous. RAM is ridiculous. I was looking at building a PC, and RAM went from $350 to $1,300 to build the same 64 gig stick from 18 months ago. So a lot of money, a lot of use, still can't keep up with demand for anything. So it's going to just continue until it either crashes or enough factories and come up to then try and keep up with the demand, which I'm not sure if it ever will, really. Like the amount I use it, I can see why it's happening. And apparently there's some studies that the AI is creating more work, not less, for people. No one's going to work for 2 days, but AI is going to do it. AI is enabling us to do more. We're more multi-skilled and multifunctional now, because you can get AI to fill the gaps of the things you couldn't. You don't have to reach out to someone. Unless you feel like me or not, before I go step out for a coffee or I go to the bathroom or go for a walk, I'll tell the AI to do something, so when I come back, it's ready. I'm doing a lot more and it just keeps pulling me back in, or it's, oh, I need 5 minutes on the weekend, let me just do this and then I can get back to it and I'll look at it later. And the AI is just constantly doing things. And I can probably use chats and do this more on the run. I'd prefer not to. So just going to the computer, 2 seconds, writing it, leaving and coming back and seeing the result. A lot more is getting done. It's finding a lot of value and use for myself, but I think that's where the extra work is coming from for people. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the no work day or what that would look like. I'm not a philosopher and haven't spent enough time thinking about it to comment on that properly. And then there was a really rough, apparently leaked video, it wasn't rough, with Alexander Skarsgård showing off a shiny metallic pebble-like device that is an AI thing that is apparently meant to be the device that OpenAI and Journey Ive are working on. No idea if it's real or speculation, but no one knows what it was. There was a lot to go through. I really went there. There was a speed video this week, plenty to keep up with. Good luck keeping up with it till next week, and we'll see what else eventuates in the world of OpenClaw.